What's going on, you guys? It's October 5th, 2022, and episode 23 of the Daily Logs. So today was very interesting and played out perfectly to what I was describing last night. If you guys remember, I was annotating these fair value gaps on the 4-hour time frame, this fair value gap here and this one as well, saying watch how price trades into it. I was expecting higher prices and eventually a run above the buy side liquidity here, which you can see right now currently trading. We look like we will expand above that. I definitely appreciate you guys who leave comments and likes and stuff like that, because there's a lot of people out here who troll and discredit some of the things I say. But like I said, this is all just daily logs for myself eventually in the future, so I'm trying not to get too hung up on all of those people. But it is nice to get recognition that, hey, like, this is something I was calling. You guys saw it in real time, and it played out to perfection. So I have to say today, just from myself and my experience, I was very almost tilting today, just because there was no entry for me, and knowing where price is going exactly, yet not having that entry pattern form can really suck sometimes. And the way I deal with that is just stepping away from the charts for hours. I stepped away from the charts around like noon my time, and I haven't been on in like 6 hours, just because I know looking at price would probably piss me off, to be honest. And again, that goes back to psychology and understanding that A, nothing is going to be perfect. I'm not going to be able to capture every single move. And B, my rules and my discipline, if you look at my community tab I posted, discipline hurts like a bitch sometimes. Your discipline is there, your rules are there in order to protect you. Now, sometimes they protect you on the wrong side of things, where they don't allow you to fully capitalize on the things you want to. But let's just say today I was entering at the low here with no really context on the lower time frames. To me, that would be breaking my own rules and my own discipline. So I'm very happy that I at least followed my discipline. I'm kind of just venting just because I want to record this for future self. But I'm happy that I didn't tilt, I didn't do anything on the charts or to my account. I didn't take a trade. So all in all, I came out with 0 casualties. So good day to me. Let's go down to, actually, let's go up to the daily time frame real quick. So I had your guys' attention pointed to this little fair value gap here. Now I'm going to pull up a different chart here, a few different charts. If you have the TradingView, I think, Pro package, you're able to access some different charts here. So what I was looking at today, I was looking at this fair value gap on the 16-hour because it was a little bit more clear than the 4-hour or even the daily. And I really like the structure here. It was the same as the 4-hour, but I was really paying attention to the 50% equilibrium of that fair value gap there. 12-hour, I was looking at this little fair value gap here. We dipped into it. I believe the 8-hour is pretty clean as well. Looking at this. So that was really nice to see the bodies closed above the high there, or the low of that candle. Let me take your attention back out to the 16-hour, because this is a little bit more clear than the daily. The 16-hour fair value gap bearish is really where my attention is at, to see if we are truly bearish. I would like to see an expansion lower tomorrow or Friday on FP. I'd like to see price go lower, because we are residing inside of that weekly time frame fair value gap. You could see here, I think we could push up a little bit higher, and then we could see that ultimately expand lower. We could close out the week underneath this fair value gap, which would be amazing. And then next week we roll out and we start attacking these lower levels. So that'd be amazing to see. You can see here that 16-hour fair value gap is residing inside of this 4-hour remaining fair value gap that I noted yesterday. So ultimately, I'd like to see the buy side liquidity be ran out, and then for us to see that displacement lower. The only way this would be invalid is if we close above this low here of the fair value gap or the high. So I'm going to watch the probably equilibrium of this range here because it's the remaining portion of that fair value gap that's open. So I really wouldn't like price bottom, like the bodies of the candle to close above 50%. The wick, if we wick through it, that's okay. But that's really what I'd be looking for. So something like this tomorrow/Friday to play out. That's what I'd be looking for. But let's go into today and the price action and what happened. So I even put on my community tab prior to the news release, which was at 9 a.m. my time. And we were residing right here. So we were sitting like this, and I had the sell side liquidity noted here, which if you go back out to like a 16-hour was the low there. So I'm looking at that for it to be rated out. Let me go back out to here. I'm looking for this low to be rated out and then for us to swing higher. This just didn't seem like it was ready to move higher to me. I need to see a bigger purge of liquidity before running higher. If you're looking at this as the YouTube model, reason I really wouldn't want to be longing that is due to lower time frames. There's no market structure shift here. Like some people are gonna get caught up in this displacement higher here. Comment below if you did, because I saw a few people on Twitter. They got caught up in this. But for me, a true market structure shift would be above this high here, and then for us to come lower. This is just a fake Judah swing to set up that news release, and then for us to go lower. And that entire time we were just building liquidity, so relative equal highs, for us to eventually purge on the way back up. So if you look at the 1 minute, I actually would have took this short setup today. This was the cleanest setup that you could have gotten today, at least to my criteria, if we purged these relative equal highs. We purged above these highs here. If you look at ICT, took this short, which is a beautiful trade, but it just didn't really meet my criteria. So we displaced lower. We had that return back into a premium, and then you have this fair value gap right here. And you could have went short there, targeting the relative equal lows underneath here, and then ultimately at your Fibonacci extensions as well. So to me, that was the best trade opportunity. The reasoning I didn't take it is because I wanted to see these highs purged first, which we didn't get. And I was ultimately bullish on the day, so I really wasn't trying to short this. And after, let me just get rid of the replay. We went ahead and took out the sell side liquidity, and then I was just paying attention to price, and there was just nothing there that qualified me to get into the trade. And it was super upsetting to just watch this play out perfectly and for me to not get into the trade. But again, discipline is there. It may sound strange to some people. You may comment and be like, hey, why didn't you get in? You could have just entered off of the higher time frame context, etc. But these are my rules, my criteria for my trading. So everybody's different. To me, this isn't the YouTube model. If we did, let's say, come back into a fair value gap in here, which I actually did set a limit when we started retracing here, right before the relative equal highs, I had my limit right underneath this low here, because that's in a discount. And I wanted to see price come back into that discount, into the fair value gap, and then send price higher. And there was just no retracements into any discount. Maybe right here. I haven't checked. So that could have qualified for a trade. he did really from that swing low really doesn't qualify. I think on the 5-minute there's a couple setups. So the fair value gap here, we came into it equilibrium and then displaced higher into the buy side liquidity that was resting above these relative equal highs, and then ultimately this high here. And another indication to me that we are more than likely bullish is because we opened the day and left this gap open. If you ever see something like this and you know your narrative, you know you're more than likely bullish, look for that to be filled throughout the AM or PM session. And what was weird about this as well, which didn't qualify anything for me to take a trade, was this was all happening during lunch, which was super upsetting to see as well. Looking at the 5-minute, we came back into this little fair value gap here and then displaced higher once more, came back into our down close candle here, which is your order block, coupled with that little fair value gap right next to it here. And it's side of a discount relative from the dealing range low to the dealing range high. And then we ran above the buy side liquidity. And since then, we've dropped down, and then we've just been kind of trading sideways here. So overall, it was a cool day to analyze, cool day to see your analysis basically play out perfectly. And what's funny about this, I was watching this displacement, and then I said to myself, I was watching this little fair value gap here, but it really didn't qualify for a trade because even on the 1-minute or 2-minute, there's really no nice dealing range, nor is there any 2-minute, 3-minute, 4-minute, or 1-minute fair value gaps in that same area. And you can see we just dropped down. I believe even on, if you go to a 1-minute and you look at right when lunch opened, if you look at this low here, so we ran out the sell side underneath here. If you look at US 100, let me pop over to that. So US 100 ran out the low. And then if we go over to US 30, well, we did run out the low as well. Okay. I thought there was some type of SMT today I was looking at. Maybe I was mistaken when I was looking at my other monitor, but I thought US 100 or US 30 failed to make that lower low. Even looking at NASDAQ really didn't have anything super clean to get into. So just one of those days, one of those weeks, and it's as expected with NFP. These weeks are not as clean, especially there was a lot of news. I think jobs claims came out today with USD news. So either way, I may trade tomorrow. I'm gonna get up in the morning session and look at price. According to ICT, we shouldn't be trading tomorrow or Friday, which I would definitely recommend if you're quite new to trading. I would advise just staying sidelines. But if we don't catch anything this week, that's all right. I always look at my monthly progress over weekly or daily progress. It keeps it my psychology in mind to know that, you know, my results are not based off of days or even a week. It's based off of monthly and yearly progress. So something to keep in mind. Until tomorrow, guys, I will talk to you, and good luck in good trading.